Imagine walking into your kitchen. You've had the kind of day that leaves a heavy, invisible weight on your shoulders. You haven't started crying. You haven't sighed out loud. You haven't even changed out of your work clothes. But before you can even reach for a glass of water, a wet nose presses firmly against your palm. You look down, and your dog is staring up at you with an intensity that feels almost uncomfortable. Those eyes aren't begging for food, and they aren't asking to go outside. They are looking directly into you. In that quiet, heavy moment, a chill hits you as a single question echoes in your mind. Does this animal actually know exactly what I am thinking? For centuries, science dismissed this idea as pure human sentimentality. We were told we were anthropomorphizing, projecting our own complex emotions onto creatures driven merely by instinct, habit, and the desire for treats. But recent, groundbreaking neuroscience has shattered that cold perspective. The truth is far more staggering and borderline eerie. Your dog might not understand the specific words of your internal monologue, but they are tuned into your brain, your nervous system, and your chemical shifts in ways that even your human loved ones can never replicate. They aren't just guessing what you're thinking, they are reading the biological script of your mind. To understand how deep this connection goes, we have to look at the world through a dog's primary superpower, their sense of smell. Human beings are visual creatures. We look at a face to see if someone is angry or sad. Dogs, however, can literally smell your thoughts. When you experience an emotion, whether it's a sudden spike of anxiety, a wave of deep sadness, or a burst of pure joy, your brain instantly releases a cocktail of hormones and neurotransmitters. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your system when you are stressed. Oxytocin and dopamine surge when you are happy. These internal chemical reactions don't stay hidden inside your body. They change your subtle body odor, leaking through your sweat and your breath. To another human, these microscopic chemical shifts are completely imperceptible. But to your dog, whose sense of smell is up to 100,000 times more sensitive than yours, a spike in cortisol smells like a sudden flare of smoke in a quiet room. When you sit on the couch, trapped in a spiral of anxious thoughts about your finances or your future, you might look perfectly calm on the outside. But to your dog's nose, your body is screaming. They can literally smell the chemical signature of your anxiety. They know your thoughts because they can smell the physical fallout of them. But it goes much deeper than chemistry. Dogs are also master behaviorists, possessing an uncanny ability to read our body language that rivals the most advanced human psychological profiling. Over the course of 30,000 years of domestication, dogs have evolved a specialized set of muscles around their eyes specifically to communicate with humans, the famous puppy dog eyes that their wild wolf ancestors completely lack. But just as they use these muscles to look at us, they spend every waking hour analyzing the micro-expressions on our own faces. Think about the subtle shifts in your posture when you are angry versus when you are relaxed. When you are frustrated by a work email, your jaw tightens by a fraction of a millimeter. Your breathing becomes shallower. Your shoulders rise just a fraction of an inch. You might not notice these changes, but your dog does. They are tracking the tension in your muscles, the rhythm of your heart rate, which they can actually hear in a quiet room, and the direction of your gaze. In fact, dogs are one of the only species on Earth that can understand human pointing. If you point at an object, a wolf will look at your finger. A chimpanzee, our closest genetic relative, will often look at your hand. But a dog will immediately look past your hand and focus on the object you are pointing at. They understand that your physical movement reflects an internal mental state, that you are trying to share a thought with them. This brings us to one of the most fascinating scientific discoveries of recent years, the existence of mirror neurons in dogs. Mirror neurons are specialized brain cells that fire both when an individual performs an action and when they observe someone else performing that same action. It is the neurological foundation for empathy. When you see someone stub their toe, you flinch because your mirror neurons are simulating that pain. Brain scans of dogs using functional MRI machines have revealed that when a dog watches their owner experience an emotion, the corresponding regions in the dog's own brain light up in tandem. If you are feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, your dog's brain begins to mimic that state of exhaustion. They aren't just observing your mood from a distance, they are actively absorbing it. Your mental state becomes their mental state. This is why, when you are stressed, your dog might become restless, start pacing, or cling to your side. They aren't just reacting to you, they are feeling a reflection of your internal chaos. So, if they can smell our chemistry, read our micro-expressions, and mirror our neurological states, does that mean they can truly read our minds? To answer this, we have to look at a concept known in psychology as theory of mind. This is the ability to attribute mental states, beliefs, intents, desires, emotions, and knowledge to oneself and others, and to understand that others have beliefs that are different from one's own. For a long time, scientists believed this was a uniquely human trait that developed in children around the age of 4. However, recent studies have pushed the boundaries of what we thought dogs were capable of regarding theory of mind. In a famous experiment, researchers placed 2 toys in a room. One toy was visible to both the human researcher and the dog, while the other toy was hidden behind a barrier, meaning only the dog could see it, while the human's view was blocked. When the human gave the command to fetch, the dogs overwhelmingly chose the toy that the human could see. They didn't just grab the toy they preferred, they calculated what the human was capable of seeing from their specific vantage point. They understood the limitations of the human's knowledge. This proves that your dog doesn't just see you as a walking food dispenser. They view you as an independent being with your own internal perspective, and they actively calculate what you know, what you see, and what you want. When you are staring at the pantry, your dog knows you are thinking about food. When you pick up your keys, they don't just react to the sound, they anticipate your intent to leave. They are constantly running a predictive algorithm in their heads, forecasting your next move based on a profound understanding of your past patterns and current mental state. But perhaps the most profound evidence of this connection lies in the concept of emotional contagion and the unique bond forged by a hormone called oxytocin. Often referred to as the love hormone, oxytocin is responsible for bonding between mothers and newborns. It creates a sense of deep trust, safety, and affection. When you look into your dog's eyes, something extraordinary happens. Studies have shown that mutual gazing between a dog and their owner triggers a massive spike in oxytocin levels in both the human and the canine brain. It is a biofeedback loop of affection. No other interspecies relationship on the planet exhibits this kind of mutual hormonal surge. When you look at your dog and feel a rush of warmth, your dog is experiencing that exact same biological rush at the exact same second. Your silent, unspoken affection is being broadcast directly into their bloodstream. This is why your dog seems to know when you need comfort before you even realize it yourself. They are reacting to a shift in your internal ecosystem. When you are grieving, your body drops its defenses. Your breathing changes, your scent profile shifts to reflect sadness, and your energy drops. Your dog doesn't need to understand the concept of death, heartbreak, or failure to know that your internal world is fractured. They feel the fracture through their senses, and their evolutionary instinct drives them to close the gap, to offer comfort, to protect, and to sit with you in the quiet space of your thoughts. To fully grasp the magnitude of this, we must examine the incredible architecture of the canine brain under the lens of modern neuroscience. For decades, the true inner workings of the dog's mind were a black box. Because dogs cannot vocalize their thoughts, scientists had to rely on observation alone, which often led to overly simplistic conclusions. But everything changed when researchers managed to train dogs to sit completely still inside functional MRI machines without sedation. This allowed us to watch their brains light up in real time as they were exposed to different human stimuli. What the fMRI scans revealed was nothing short of miraculous. When a dog hears their owner's voice, the reward centers of their brain, specifically the caudate nucleus, burst into activity. To a dog, the sound of your voice activates the exact same neural pathways that light up when a human looks at a picture of their child or romantic partner. But even more shockingly, scientists discovered that dogs have a dedicated voice processing region in their brains, very similar to our own. This region allows them to decode the emotional tone of human speech. They can instantly differentiate between a voice that is happy, sad, angry, or anxious, completely independent of the actual words being spoken. You could say the most meaningless gibberish to your dog, but if you say it with a heavy heart, their brain registers the sorrow instantly. This auditory sensitivity is amplified by their ability to hear the physical manifestations of our thoughts. When you become stressed or excited, your autonomic nervous system alters your heart rate and blood pressure. Your heart rate speeds up, and your blood vessels constrict or dilate. While a human standing next to you would have no idea your pulse is racing, a dog's hearing spans of frequency range far wider than ours. In a quiet room, your dog can literally hear the rhythm of your heartbeat change. They are listening to the mechanical soundtrack of your emotions. When your mind races with stressful thoughts, your heart beats out the frantic tempo, and your dog hears it loud and clear. This incredible sensory loop creates an environmental awareness that makes dogs seem psychic. Think about the phenomenon of a dog waiting by the window or the front door exactly 10 minutes before their owner arrives home, even if the arrival time changes every day. For a long time, people attributed this to a supernatural sixth sense. While it feels magical, the reality is a beautiful testament to their analytical intelligence. Dogs don't just memorize schedules, they read the environmental cues we leave behind. They track the fading scent of their owner in the house, utilizing it like a ticking clock. When the concentration of your scent drops to a specific threshold, their brain calculates that this is the moment you usually reappear. They are constantly measuring time, space, and human presence through a complex web of sensory data. Furthermore, we must look at how dogs interpret our intentions through cooperative communication. In the wild, animals rarely look at each other's eyes to cooperate. In the animal kingdom, a direct stare is usually a sign of aggression or a challenge. But dogs have completely rewritten the rules of evolutionary biology. They are the only animals that actively seek out human eye contact to solve problems. In cognitive testing, when a cat or a wolf is faced with an impossible puzzle, like a locked box containing food, they will struggle with it until they give up out of frustration. When a dog is faced with the exact same impossible puzzle, they will try for a few seconds, stop, turn their head, and look directly at a human's face. This gaze is not a random movement. It is a highly sophisticated cognitive strategy known as referential looking. The dog is intentionally checking in with you, asking for help, and trying to read your face to see if you have a solution. They understand that you possess knowledge that they lack. They look at you because they know you have a mind, you have intent, and you have the power to alter their reality. This level of social intelligence is incredibly rare in nature. It shows that your dog views you not just as a part of their environment, but as an intentional partner whose mind can be communicated with. This brings us to a critical realization about the dark side of this deep connection. Because our dogs are so intricately wired into our psychological states, they act as emotional sponges for our modern anxieties. The human world is filled with abstract stressors that dogs were never evolved to understand. They don't know what a bank account is, they don't understand politics, and they don't comprehend corporate deadlines. Yet, when we bring the stress of these abstract concepts home with us, our dogs absorb the raw, unfiltered cortisol fallout. When you spend hours staring at a computer screen, radiating frustration and anxiety, your dog experiences the biological alarm signals of danger without any context. To them, the pack leader is emitting signals of fear or anger, which means a threat must be near. Because they cannot see the threat, since it exists entirely inside your mind or on a digital screen, their own anxiety spikes. They might start chewing furniture, barking excessively, pacing, or developing obsessive behaviors. Veterinarians and animal behavioral psychologists have noted a dramatic rise in canine anxiety disorders in recent decades, mirroring the rise in human mental health struggles. Our dogs are suffering from our thoughts. They are paying a psychological price for their profound empathy toward us. Yet, despite this burden, their commitment to understanding us never wavers. This is because the bond between a human and a dog is built on an evolutionary contract written over millennia. We didn't just domesticate them to do jobs like herding or guarding, we co-evolved alongside them. Our ancestors survived because dogs could alert them to danger and read human intentions during a hunt. In return, dogs survived because they learned to navigate the complex social structures of human tribes. This shared history has created a cross-species language that operates entirely below the level of conscious thought. Consider how your dog reacts to your secret intentions, the things you plan to do but haven't executed yet. Have you ever noticed that the moment you think about taking your dog for a walk, before you even stand up or touch the leash, they suddenly wake up from a deep sleep and look at you expectantly? It feels like telepathy. But what is actually happening is a masterclass in behavioral prediction. Before you consciously decide to stand up, your brain has already sent signals to your muscles. Your breathing patterns shift slightly as you prepare to move. Your eyes dart toward the door or the place where the leash is kept. You might give off a microscopic surge of anticipation hormones. Your dog, who has spent their entire life doing nothing but studying your specific behavioral patterns, catches these micro-clues instantly. They have memorized your pre-movement rituals so perfectly that they can predict your actions before you even fully realize you are about to make them. They are living a fraction of a second ahead of your conscious awareness. So, if we return to our original question with all of this scientific context, we can finally answer it with absolute clarity. Does your dog know what you are thinking? If by thinking we mean the specific, structured sentences running through your head, no. They don't know that you're worrying about paying your taxes, they don't understand that you're replaying an awkward conversation from 5 years ago, and they don't know the name of the person who broke your heart. They don't understand the abstract human constructs that trap our minds in the past and the future. They are beautifully, completely anchored in the present moment. But if by thinking we mean the raw, unfiltered essence of your present reality, your joy, your fear, your grief, your love, your intentions, and your peace, then the answer is an absolute, undeniable yes. They know what you are thinking because they don't just listen to your thoughts, they feel them. They smell them. They see them mapped out across your body. While humans spend their lives navigating a world of words, labels, and hidden motives, trying desperately to truly understand one another and often failing, your dog bypasses all of that noise. They have traded the complexity of language for the purity of direct connection. They see right through the masks we wear for the rest of the world. You can smile and tell everyone around you that you're doing just fine, but you cannot lie to your dog. They know the truth of your mind because their entire existence is dedicated to studying you. They are the ultimate silent witnesses to our lives. In a world that constantly demands us to be something else, to perform, to hide our vulnerability, and to suppress our true feelings, our dogs offer a rare and sacred sanctuary. They do not judge the thoughts they read. They do not care if your mind is filled with insecurity, guilt, or failure. When they read your sorrow, they do not pull away, they step closer. When they smell your panic, they offer their physical presence as an anchor to pull you back to reality. The next time you find your dog staring at you from across the room, don't just brush it off as a meaningless gaze. Take a moment to check in with yourself. What are you feeling right now? Are you anxious? Are you lonely? Are you content? Look closely at their posture, their eyes, and their demeanor. You might just realize that the animal sitting at your feet is holding up a mirror to your own soul, offering a silent, judgment-free understanding that requires absolutely no words at all. They are bridging the gap between two entirely different species with a profound, instinctive empathy that science is only just beginning to comprehend. You are never truly alone with your thoughts, not when you have a dog.